everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this cross stitch crochet tank top. In this video you'll learn how to make the cross stitch, but most especially you'll learn how to increase it, as you can see here, and then you'll also learn how to work it in rounds. So for this project, it was inspired by the Viva crochet tank top that is very popular on my channel. So if you like tank tops like this, make sure you check out the Viva crochet tank top as well, and also the Granny Stitch crochet tank top. I'll be leaving both links to those videos in the description box below so that you can make some beautiful tank tops for yourself. So for this project, I used the cross stitch, as you can see here. You can make it to any length of your choice, but for me, the total length of my tank top is 15 inches. And the hook that I used for this project is a 3.5mm crochet hook. And then I also needed a darning needle, a pair of scissors, and then I also needed measuring tape. This is the one that I used. And also the measurement that we shall be considering for this project is the bust circumference. So make sure you take a measurement around your bust, and then you're going to divide it by 4, and then that's the magic number that we shall be considering while constructing this top, as I'll explain later on. And then for the yarn, I used this Naco satin yarn, and as you can see, it has this beautiful shimmer, or that silkiness that makes a garment look very professional and well made. So I used 1.5 balls of Naco satin, and I was just cut off by the amount of yarn that I had. But if I had more yarn, I would definitely make a longer top. And I recommend about 2 to 3 balls, depending on the length of the top that you're going to make. And also, if you're making for a bigger size, I recommend about 3 balls. This yarn is 100% premium micro acrylic, and each ball is about 230 meters. Each ball is 100 grams, and the yarn recommends a 3mm crochet hook. But just to be on a loose end, I used a 3.5mm crochet hook in order to have kind of loose stitches so that we can have this beautiful drape for our crochet tank top, so that it's not very stiff. So if you have any yarn, you can literally use any yarn depending on what you have available, as long as you can follow the measurements. So this is a beautiful tank top, and if you happen to get any value from this video, make sure you leave a comment behind and share this video, like it, and yeah, subscribe to the channel for more amazing content. So let's jump right into the video. Alright, so you're going to grab your 3.5mm crochet hook and then your yarn, whichever yarn that you've decided to use, and you're going to start off with a slip knot, just like that. So after creating your slip knot, you're going to make a chain of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you're going to go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th chain from the hook. So counting from this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into that 5th chain, you're going to place a double crochet. This pattern is explained in the US terms. So after that double crochet, you're going to go into the next chain with a double crochet. This piece is worked from top to bottom. So as we keep working, you see your piece or panel widening to create coverage for the bust. So far we have these 2 double crochets, and then you're going to yarn over and go into the chain before this double crochet that we first placed. So into this chain, you're going to insert your hook into that chain and place a double crochet. That will create our very first cross stitch of our pattern. And then you're going to go into the last chain here and place a double crochet. So that marks the end of row 1. Row 1 is finished, and we're going on to row 2. For row 2, you start off with a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet, and then you're going to turn your work and you're going to place 2 double crochets in each of the next 3 stitches. So into this one, you're going to place 2 double crochets, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch, and then 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So what we've done is we've placed 2 double crochets in each of the 3 stitches of the cross stitch from the previous row. So from here, you're going to go on top of the chain 3 at the end of the previous row, and you're going to place a double crochet. Make sure you get into the top of the chain 3. And so far we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 double crochets, including the chain 3 that counts as a double crochet. So let's go on to row 3. Row 3 is going to be a row of cross stitches. So you're going to make a chain of 3 and turn your work. After turning your work, you're going to skip the next stitch. So the chain of 3 is attached to this stitch. So we skip this one, and yarn over, skip this one and go into the next with a double crochet into the next stitch, and then go back to the skipped stitch, which is this one. So yarn over and go into the skipped stitch and place a double crochet. So just like that, we have our very first cross stitch of row 3. Skip the next stitch and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. And then go back to the skipped stitch and place a double crochet. Go on top of the last chain 3 of the previous row. So on top of the chain 3, you're going to place a double crochet. So row 3 has given us a total of 2 cross stitches. So let's go on to row 4. For row 4, you're going to make a chain of 3 and turn your work. And in each of the next 6 stitches, you're going to place 2 double crochets. So this is the first stitch. It will get 2 double crochets, and then 2 into the next, 2 into the next. So that's a total of 3 stitches that have gotten 2 double crochets into them. And then in each of the next 3 stitches, still we're going to place 2 double crochets in each. All right, and then you're going to go on top of the chain 3 of the previous row, and you're going to place a double crochet to end your row 4. So you should notice that the odd rows are the rows of cross stitches, row 1 and row 3, and then the even rows are the rows of double crochet stitches, which is row 2 and row 4. Now we're going on to row 5. Row 5 is going to be an odd row, so it is a cross stitch row. So you start off with a chain of 3 and turn your work. Skip the next stitch and 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then go back to the skipped stitch and place a double crochet. Skip the next stitch and 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then go back to the skipped stitch and place a double crochet. Skip the next stitch, double crochet once in each of the next 2 stitches, and then go back and place a double crochet into the skipped stitch. Skip the next stitch and 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then go back to the skipped stitch and place a double crochet. and then you're going to double crochet on top of the last chain 3 of the previous row. And just like that, we are done with row 5, and we have a total of 4 cross stitches. Now from now on, for every cross stitch row, the number of cross stitches will increase by 2, both on this side and on this side, as we shall see after the row of double crochets. So let's go on to row 6, which is the row of double crochets. So this will be a repeat row, so pay attention. Row 6 is a repeat row. You're going to chain 3 and turn your work, and in each of the stitches, the 3 stitches of the first cross stitch, you're going to go in there with 2 double crochets. And then this is the third to receive 2 double crochets as well. So this is what your work will look like. 2 double crochets in each of the 3 stitches of the first cross stitch, and then 1 double crochet in each of the stitches of the middle cross stitches. I hope I'm clear on that. For the middle ones, you're only going to place 1 double crochet in each and every stitch. And then when you get to the 3 stitches of the last cross stitch, you're going to go in there with 2 double crochets into each stitch of the last cross stitch. So you change the 3 double crochets to 6 because each stitch is getting 2 double crochets. I hope I'm clear. So just like that, we have this, and then you're going to go on top of the chain 3 with 1 double crochet. So that marks the end of row 6. And then row 7, it's also a repeat row. So for row 7, we are going to repeat the same exact thing as we did for row 5. So you make a chain of 3 and turn your work, skip the next stitch, and then 1 double crochet in each of the next 2, and then go back to the skipped stitch with a double crochet, then skip the next stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, go back to the skipped stitch and place a double crochet. So you're going to repeat that all the way across, and I wanted to demonstrate this row, which is row 7, so that we can see the number of cross stitches that we end up with, just to prove what I mentioned on row 5. All right, so we've come to the end of row 7, and at row 5, I mentioned that we have 4 cross stitches, and from now on, our cross stitch rows will be increasing the cross stitches by 2. So at row 7, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see our cross stitches have increased from 4 to 6. That means for row 9, your cross stitches will become 8, and for row 11, your cross stitches will become 10. So I hope you can follow along and keep that in mind, and you can see how our shaping for the tank top, for one of the sides of the tank top, is already starting to take shape and widening in order to create coverage. So we're just going to repeat rows 5 and 6 because row 7 was the same as row 5. So we're just repeating rows 5, which is this one. This one is a repeat of row 5, and then row 6. So that means for the next row, which is row 8, you're going to have the same exact instructions as row 6. And just keep in mind that from now on, the even rows have the same instructions, and the odd rows also have the same exact instructions. So we're going to keep working until the base of our piece or our panel measures 1/4 of our bust circumference without stretching. So that's the comfortable fitting that I want to achieve. If you want yours a bit tight, then you're going to consider this slightly stretched. So let me go ahead and keep working my rows 5 and 6 until I get that measurement, and make sure you end on a row of double crochets or an even row. This one, the one of double crochets, not the one of cross stitches. Alright guys, now we've just placed the last double crochet on top of the chain 3 of the previous row. Now in the last stitch, you're going to make sure that you place 2 double crochets. So this is 1, and you're going to go into the same exact chain on top of the chain 3 and place a second double crochet. So remember I told you to keep working the 2 rows until you have 1/4 of your bust circumference without stretching. So you can see here I'm considering 32 inches as the bust circumference, and 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches. So I have my 8 inches, and this is for extra small. So for all the other sizes, I'll recommend you add 2 more rows, and I'll be putting them on the screen for you just in case you want to follow along. But just make sure you get that measurement right. Make sure you have 1/4 of your bust circumference without stretching. So if you want a tighter fitting, then consider the measurement well stretched. But for me, I want a loose, not loose, but a comfortable fitting for my tank top. So after placing your 2 double crochets here, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, leaving behind the tail. So you're going to pull through, and you're going to go ahead and make 3 more of these pieces. So I have mine here. You can see this, and this. And I've done a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 rows for each and every piece. Now I'm going to assemble my work like this, because now I want to join in the round so that we start working in rounds. So I'm going to go on top of this stitch, that last stitch of the first motif, and then go into the top of the chain 3 on this side. Make sure your stitches are facing the same direction. Then grab this tail and pull through. Make a chain of 1 and then pull through. So I'm going to do that again here. You go into the top of the last stitch, and then on top of the chain 3 of the next piece, on top of the chain 3. Remember, the chain 3 counts as a double crochet for the double crochet row. So pull through this, and then make a chain of 1 and pull through. If it's not so secure, you will secure it later on. But for now, this is what we are doing. You're going to repeat it. Just watch what I'm doing and do the same exact thing. Chain 1, pull through, and then you're going to fold over and then join the last 2 pieces. So you can see what we have now. You're going to join the last 2 pieces. Okay. On top of the chain 3. Pull through, chain 1, and then pull through. So this is what you're going to have. And now we are going to reattach our yarn and start working in rounds. So round 1, after joining in the round 1 is going to be a cross stitch round. All right, now we're going on to round 1, and we're going to get our yarn and attach it. You see how I'm placing my work? That means this will be either the back side or the front side, but I'll consider this the back side because this is where the rounds are going to start and end. That means the seam line of this project is going to be on this side. So make sure you're working in the opposite direction of the previous row, and you're going to attach your yarn into that double crochet, or actually you're going to attach your yarn into the top of the chain 3 where you slip stitched. Just attach your yarn there and then make a chain of 3. This counts as a double crochet. After your double crochet, you're going to go into the next stitch with a double crochet, so that counts as 2 double crochets, and then move back. So look what I'm doing. The chain of 3 counts as a double crochet, and then 1 double crochet into the next stitch, and then go to the stitch before the chain 3 and place your cross stitch. Place your double crochet there. So that's our very first cross stitch, and then skip the next stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then go back to the skipped stitch. So just like that, we're going to repeat this all the way around. Skip 1 stitch, 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 stitches, and then go back to the skipped stitch with a cross stitch. You're going to repeat this around and across all panels, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of the round. Actually, at this point, so that I can show you how to cross over to the next panel. A few things that you have to note and a few things that you don't have to overlook. So remember, for this project, the side where the cross stitch is worked is the right side of our work. That's how I can tell the right side from the wrong side of the work. So the side where the cross stitch is worked, that means we are working round 1 on the right side of the top. And another thing that you have to note is you should always work in the opposite direction of the previous row or round. So we are here, we are almost crossing over to the next panel. We are still placing our cross stitches. So I've just placed a cross stitch here, and then you're going to skip 1 stitch, this one, and then don't forget to go into the top of the chain 3, because that counted as a double crochet when we were working our separate panels. So you go in there with 1 double crochet, and then go into the next stitch on the next panel with 1 double crochet, and then cross over to go back to the skipped stitch and place a double crochet there. So just like that, we're done with this cross stitch, and then skip 1 stitch, double crochet once in each of the next 2 stitches, and then go back to the skipped stitch with a double crochet. So you can see how the pattern is blending in so well. So you're going to go all the way around, and I'll meet you back at the beginning of my very first round. All right, so we've come to the end of our cross stitch round, and we have 3 stitches left. So you're going to skip the next stitch, which is this one, and double crochet once in each of the next 2 stitches, just like we've been doing. So 1 double crochet into the last stitch, and then move backwards and place a double crochet in the skipped stitch. And just like that, we are done. And you're going to go on top of the first chain 3 of the round and place a slip stitch. Insert your hook, pull through all. So I'm going to make use of a stitch marker. I don't have one here, but I'm going to just mark this point. Actually, just make sure that I have a stitch marker here. I'll just mark this point anywhere around here just to make me know the back side of my work, because this is where the seam line is going to be. So that means your vest is going to be placed like this. So we are through with round 1. Round 2, you're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as a double crochet. Turn your work so that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous round. And you're going to go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet in each of the following stitches until the end of the round. And I'll meet you back at the beginning of round 2. So we are going into each and every stitch with 1 double crochet. All right, so we're coming to the end of round 2, which is the double crochet round, and I'm placing 1 double crochet in each and every stitch until the end of the round. So I'm placing my last double crochet into the last stitch of the previous round, and then you go on top of the first chain 3 and place a slip stitch. That's how you wind up round 2. So we're going on to round 3, and it's going to be a cross stitch round. So you make a chain of 3 and turn your work so that you're working in the opposite direction of the previous round. The chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Now you're going to go into the next stitch with 1 double crochet and then go to the stitch before the chain 3 and create a cross stitch. So double crochet there. That will count as our very first cross stitch. So skip 1 stitch and 1 double crochet in each of the next 2, and then go back to the skipped stitch and double crochet there, just like that. So we're going to repeat that all the way around until you place your last cross stitch of the round. So you're going to go all the way around until you have 3 stitches left. You create your last cross stitch and wind up your round the same exact way that we finished round 1 of the cross stitch. And basically we shall repeat rounds 2 and 3 again and again until we have the length of our top. So this is round 3. Finish it up and keep repeating rounds 2 and 3. 2 and 3. Don't forget, we wind up round 3 the same exact way that we did round 1 of the cross stitch. All right, so I want to show you the progress of my project. This stitch will grow on you. Trust me, it doesn't build up so fast. But the effect that it creates is very detailed and satisfying to see once the project builds up. So this is the same exact stitch that I used for my Zara bralette. If you haven't yet checked it out, make sure after this video you go check it out and see if it's a project that you would want to try out. So let's see the progress of our project. Remember, I mentioned that the side of the cross stitch should be the right side of your work. So this is what our work looks like at the moment, and I'm in love. I just feel like once I grow my length, my top length to, let me say here, it's going to be a very beautiful piece that is wearable, comfortable, not so see-through. It has a beautiful stitch, and yeah, let me just keep growing my top, and I'll meet you back when I have a good length of it, and then I'll show you what to do next. Just repeat rounds 2 and 3 to your desired length of top. Alright guys, I've literally done about 8 rows going down and lengthening my top, but I'm running out of yarn right now, and I feel like I should work on the straps before I can go downwards to complete the length of the top. So I'm going to first show you how to work the straps, and then we shall go ahead and continue working on the length of our tank top. So to create your straps, you're going to make a slip knot, and you're going to attach your yarn in the very first chain. So just like that, we have our yarn attached. You're going to make a chain of 3, and we're going to create shells for our straps, and these are the same exact shells that we did for the Viva tank top as well as the granny stitch crochet vest. So you're going to go into the next chain where you place your cross stitch, and you're going to place 3 double crochets. Actually, let me place 2 so that the shell is not so big. Chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. So the shell for this pattern is 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets, and then on top of the last chain you're going to place a double crochet there. That will mark the end of row 1. And then you're going to go onto your next row. You're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, and into the chain 2 space you're going to place 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 more double crochets. And then you're going to skip over the next 2 double crochets, and on top of the chain 3 of the previous row you're going to place a double crochet there. So sorry, this yarn splits, and you have to be careful about that. So this is what we have for row 2. We're going to repeat row 2 until we have our desired length of the strap of our top. For me, I'm going to go ahead and make a total of about 5 rows. Just repeat row 2 again and again until you have your desired length for your strap. This is 3 rows, this is the 4th. And then this will be the 5th. This should be enough for my top, but if you want your strap a bit longer, please feel free to make even more rows. But I'll be recommending a number of rows to make for the different sizes on the screen. So this is for a size small, extra small, small, and this should be perfectly fine. So from here you are going to 1 2 3 4 5, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, leaving behind a tail that's long enough to attach our straps together, because after working the back side, you'll have two straps that need to be joined. So let's go ahead and repeat the same exact process for all our straps. You're going to do the same here. You do the same at this point and at this point. All right, so we are done creating our strap on this side as well. And now I'm going to make a chain of 1 and cut my yarn. This time it doesn't matter whether it's long or short, because we're going to use one of the strands that we left behind in order to attach our straps together. So you're going to turn your work onto the wrong side, and you're going to attach stitch to stitch. So you go also into the chain to space and attach. And then continue attaching the stitches. So just like that, you're going to have 2 tails here. You can go ahead and make a double knot. And then we shall weave in the ends later on. So this is what we have, guys. You're going to repeat this same exact process on the opposite side. So this is what our strap will look like. Later on, I'll decide whether to do a boundary for the tank top or not, but this is what we have for now. It looks exactly the same at the front and at the back of the top. So let's go ahead and repeat the same exact process for this part so that we have a strap like this one. Alright guys, I went ahead to create my second strap, and you can see how the tank top looks like right now. I'm not going to create any edging on the sides. I feel like the look of the stitch is already clean enough. I'm just going to go ahead and weave in these little tails that are on the top at those points where we're attaching new yarn or attaching the panels together. Just weave them in on the wrong side of your work, and make sure that your tank top is very clean and neat, so that we don't have strings that are obstructing when it comes to our next steps. So what we are doing right now is to clean up all the loose ends and get rid of them so that we can have a perfect look for our tank top. All right, one more, and this one is still attached, so just make sure you weave in your tails very neatly. All right, so this is what we have. And the fact that I'm running out of yarn, I am going to stop my tank top at this level. You can go to any length that you want because I've explained the repeat rounds. And the next thing that you're going to do, once you get done with your final row or round of cross stitches, you're going to make sure that your very final round is a double crochet round. But since the double crochet rounds have been worked on the wrong side of our work, your final round of double crochets is going to be worked on the right side. So for the final round, you will just make a chain of 3 and you will not turn your work. you'll just stay on the same exact side as the previous round, and you're going to go into each and every stitch with 1 double crochet. So we are just trying to clean up the bottom edge of our top, but making sure that we work our final round on the right side of the work so that it comes out very neat. So we are going into each and every stitch with 1 double crochet, but working in the same direction as the previous round. This is the instruction for the final round of our tank top. So let me get done with this and I take a measurement for you guys, the total measurement of my top, but you can make this top to any length of your choice as I had mentioned earlier on. Alright guys, as you can see, I am through with the final round of the double crochet stitch on the right side of the work. And if you happen to like this video or got any value from it, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, and yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more amazing content like this. This is what the final look of our tank top looks like, and I hope you enjoyed this video guys. Don't forget to check out the written pattern on all my online shops. I'll be leaving a link behind for you guys in case you want to grab one, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.